The top four race is underway and it is hotting up. Who will make that top four spot? I think realistically, we can all safe to say the biggest battle is between Arsenal and Man United. But in this video, we'll be discussing everyone's chances, who is most likely to do it. And then by the end of it, you will know who I believe will make that fourth spot and get that required Champions League football. But if you're new to the channel, please smash that like button and subscribe. It does really help. But let's get right into it. Wow. Don't you just love the Premier League? This is the thing everyone loves. By February time, usually you can see it's kind of nailed on. But in this kind of way this season's going, there are about 5 clubs that could all still potentially make that fourth spot. Yes, some more likely than others. And I think the two main ones, as I said, are Man United and Arsenal. I think those two are the two nailed on sides that realistically are putting up form and showing you that they have the ability to make that fourth spot. I think we can all safely say that. I think Tottenham, they're too inconsistent. 4 losses in the last 5 games. They had so many games in hand where people thought, yeah, they're going to do it. And then they've fallen off. Then you look at the Wolves. I think the Wolves, I don't think the strength and depth of the squad can help them throughout the season. I think we're going to see them slowly tail off, but they've had a great season, great club. And then West Ham, 2 draws now on the bounce. Personally, I don't think it's good enough. And I think the problem is with West Ham is they've got a great squad, great togetherness, a great feel-good factor about the club and everything about them. It has been going very well this season. They're still in and around. Everyone thought they'd drop off this season. But I do think Europa League now, getting into these latter stages, will haunt them. They need to start resting players for Sevilla, who they drew in the Europa League. And you can't, this is when it gets difficult. They need a bigger squad. They should have gone for players in January. And that's why I don't think they're going to make it. But now let's discuss Man United and Arsenal. 2 sides that realistically everyone's discussing. These are the 2 that are nailed on. Who will do it? Both sides in pretty good form. Arsenal 3 wins on the bounce with only 1 loss in the last 5, whereas Man United 2 wins on the bounce, but are unbeaten in the last 5. United are playing today, and obviously by the time this video goes out, United could have lost and this whole thing could have changed. But I'm going to record it because I'm bold. We've got to stick with my predictions. And I think it's still an interesting debate because a lot of people, they'll see one side lose one game and then say, oh, it's over. You cannot be flip-flop with it. You cannot keep changing. You've got to kind of be bold and trust that over the course of the season, these sides, these top sides, yes, they have little dips like we saw Arsenal at the start of the season. Man United had a dip under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, but usually the good sides always prevail. They always stay near the top. That's what they do. That's because they spend the big money. They've got the big squads, the strength and depth. Those world-class quality players usually prevail. That's what you'd expect. But looking at the 2 sides, obviously, Man United are a point ahead of Arsenal, and they've played 2 games more than Arsenal. That is obviously a huge part of it. And Arsenal could win both their games in hand and then go 5 points clear very easily. United are playing this weekend. Arsenal are playing this weekend. United could easily go more points further ahead and get a 4-point gap because as much as games in hand is brilliant, I think we saw with Tottenham, games in hand adds pressure to the side. Tottenham were doing really well, and then they kept saying, oh, they've got 3 games in hand. They could go 4th, they could go 4th. They were 7th when they had their games in hand. By the time they'd finished their games in hand, they dropped down to 8th. It just shows you the pressure that games in hand has. Games in hand, at the end of the day, mean nothing. It's points on the board that are the most important thing. So, yes, a lot of people say, well, Arsenal could easily climb, but Man United have got those points on the board. And the thing is with Man United and Ralph Rangnick, the football's not been great. The style, no one can really work out what's going on. There's quite a bit. The club seems to be a bit down. Everyone's kind of looking at it and going, it's not working. But then it quite clearly is working. They're not playing the best of football. The system isn't still gelling. The players haven't gelled in this system. And they're still 4th in the league, which is what I find mental. And that's why I think they're in a really good position. The fact that they're not playing good with all these great players in this system and they're still 4th in the league. Right now, they're getting Champions League football. If you understand what I mean there, because you look at sides like Arsenal are in 5th. Arsenal's gelling. Everyone's saying the Arteta effect, it's in full force. Well, Arsenal, yes, I know they've got games in hand, but are below this United side that supposedly isn't working. It's an interesting debate and it's an interesting thought because then we can move on to Arsenal. Arsenal have been playing really good football recently. You know what they're going to do now. Their system is kind of nailed on. It's the same every week. Very similar side. Play some really nice expansive football. Use the wingers. Use the youth. And get that ball in. And one thing I want to discuss in Arsenal, a bit of a negative, is my problem with Arsenal is that they needed a striker in January. Obviously, that's Aubameyang, who hasn't really been a striker, but he was a goal scorer. We can all say that. Arsenal don't have an out-and-out goal scorer. You don't look at that squad and go, he's going to get the goals. Saka chips in, Smith Rowe chips in, a lot of Odegaard's chipped in, Lacazette gets the occasional one, Martinelli gets the occasional one. A lot of players chip in, and that's a really good side. a sign of a good side, a togetherness, a very good, well-oiled, well-drilled machine. But what you need in these sides, when you're going for that top four football, when you're going for the Champions League, you need an out-and-out goal scorer, a striker who can get you at least 10 goals, maybe even 15. You look at United, they've got out-and-out goal scorer in Ronaldo. Fernandes scores. That's the thing. You look at Man City. They've got so many out-and-out goal scorers. Liverpool, they've got Jota, they've got Salah, they've got Mane. Whereas you look at this Arsenal side, there's no one that's going to really push on to get those double figures, assists and goals. They haven't got those star players. They've got a good squad, but not one main man. And that was my problem. Obviously, in January, they knew they were in this situation where Aubameyang was leaving, Lacazette's contract's up, and Nketiah's contract's up. Balogun goes out on loan to Middlesbrough. They don't have a striker, really. Sorry, they've got Lacazette, and they've got Nketiah, a striker that excites me, a striker that excites the club. And that's my biggest problem. I think they'd have been nailed on for top four if they'd have signed, say, a signing like Vlahovic or gone in for a striker, because will haunt them, because there will be games when maybe they'll double mark players like Saka or Odegaard. They'll be marked out of the game. And that's when you need a target man, a striker who can hold the ball up, score goals, do everything. And I don't think Lacazette's built for that. Lacazette's hold-up play and he spins plays really well, but he's not going to get you a goal. You see it quite often. The ball goes out to Saka on the wing. Saka looks to pull it back, cross it in, and there's nobody there. That is my problem with Arsenal, because that will really haunt them later on in the season. Yes, they don't have any European football, which means that they don't need to rest players. They're out of all cup competitions. They don't need to rest anyone. But they really need to get a striker. I do worry for them, especially in the summer. But that's not what this video is about, because obviously Nketiah and Lacazette, both without contract, they'll only have Balogun as a recognised striker at the club. It's quite an interesting thought. I do think, though, if they'd signed Vlahovic, they would 100% have got this top four. And I think they would have been the favourites. I think everyone would have agreed that. But that's where I worry for them. When you compare Arsenal and Man United, and you look at the kind of the squads and the systems, Man United are playing bad football recently. Like, I think we can safely say they've had a couple of good results, but when you look at Man United and you look at the sides they've been playing, you look at their starting 11s, they've always got players like Ronaldo, Sancho, Fernandes, Rashford, who you all know can score goals. McTominay's been chipping in. They've got goal scorers, and I think that is the biggest thing, because United haven't got a very good defence. We all know defensively they're not very strong, but the thing is they will always score goals. And you've got players like Alanga who's banging in the goals. Whereas you look at Arsenal, I was looking through their goal scorers this season. It really is one of four players. There's no one that stands out. That's my problem with Arsenal. They can't keep spreading out because the goals will dry up. That is the difference. And when you look at the Premier League this season, I was looking at the goal scoring. Man United has scored 6 more goals than Arsenal. Obviously, Arsenal have got one of the best defences in the league. That they've conceded a lot less than United, conceded 7 less. But it's the goal scoring that's the problem for me. That's what I think will haunt them. And I think I understand that Arsenal, it's this big term project and they are ahead of schedule. And that's probably why they didn't want to spend big and buy a striker and panic in Jan. But they could have been ahead of schedule, and I think they could have easily got that top 4. And that's the difference, where you look at Arsenal, this was their biggest chance to make that top 4 spot because everyone else has fallen away. Tottenham look really poor. West Ham, they're struggling. Man United are struggling. And Arsenal have got quite a clear image. They'd have got a striker in. This has probably been the perfect time to pounce and maybe cement themselves as a top 4 side, and then think about the players they can then attract in the summer. It's massive for a club like Arsenal. It's massive for a club like Man United. Both of these sides really should be every year getting that Champions League football, but obviously you can't. It's not as simple as that. But Man United, for me, are the side who are going to get top 4. Yes, you heard it. There's my prediction. Man United will get that loved and highly regarded 4th spot to get that Champions League football. They're still in Champions League now. They're grinding results. That's what they do. You know how they play. But I think they'll get that top 4 spot. And I think it's going to come down to the players like Fernandes, Ronaldo, Rashford. A lot of the, sorry, I can't believe I just put Rashford on Fernandes and Ronaldo's level. But those kind of players who've been banging in the goals and recently picking up their form. The big time, big game players that you know you can rely on, because as much as Ronaldo, some people might say he's been poor, he might not have been good enough, he's a player you can rely on in the big games. He comes and clutches. This is when he comes out to play. And I think this will be huge later on in the season. And if you look at both the sides who they've still got to play this season, I'll just get it up now. Man United have got quite a difficult run coming up now. They've got Watford today, then they've got City, Tottenham, Atletico, then Liverpool. and then they've got Leicester, Everton, Norwich, and then they've got Arsenal, Brentford, Brighton, Chelsea, Palace. It's not a great run, but it's not a horrendous run, because a lot of the sides you don't want to be playing are those bottom five, because right now you don't want to be playing those sides that are in relegation battle who are fighting. Whereas Arsenal have got Watford as well. They've got Leicester, Liverpool, Villa, Palace, Man United, West Ham, Leeds, Newcastle, Everton. You wouldn't want to be playing Newcastle and Everton at the end of the season, because both those sides are in relegation battle. It's going to be interesting how this whole table kind of pans out. But let me know, guys, who you believe will make that top four spot. Do you think it could be one of those outsiders that we discussed at the start? Could it be a West Ham or Wolves? Could it be any of them? I think it will be Man United. And I think it all comes down to the fact that they're not playing the best of football and they're still there. They are above Arsenal. Yes, don't tell me about the games in hand. I believe Man United will make that fourth spot. It's a bold prediction. Whether it comes off, who knows? Either way, Arsenal and Man United are two great sides that right now are doing brilliant things. They are doing brilliant things. And I hopefully you've enjoyed this video. But smash that like button and subscribe. If you're new to the channel, guys, let me know your thoughts. But BucketHatSam over and out. Thank you. Goodbye.